Ladies and gentlemen, the devs have just released their take on Pika's advantage, the rank system, unfairness, and many other questions that you probably have. So let's jump right into it and break down all the dev news that you need to know right away. If you like Valorant news and want to get updated consistently, smash that subscribe button. But enough talking, let's just jump right into it, shall we? So kicking off this news segment, they have made multiple responses to the problems and solutions of Pika's advantage. Before we jump into it, let's hear a quote from Valorant's technical engineering lead to describe exactly how he feels about Pika's advantage. David says, until humanity learns to move faster than the speed of light, Pika's advantage is never going to go away. It's something that exists for all games. That being said, our goal is to minimize it as much as possible in Valorant. Philosophically, we believe the less Pika's advantage there is, the more tactical the game's meta becomes. End quote. Thank you, David. Now, further in the dev news, they talk about how they measure Pika's advantage. And frankly, it's pretty complicated, but it's a combination of client frame rate, enemy network lag, server frame rate, your network lag, and network interval data. That might seem incredibly complicated, and if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, you could definitely check it down in the links below. But essentially, all these factors combined towards the advantage a player has when rolling into you, when you're holding an angle, and that's what we call Pika's advantage. When the enemy that's pushing you can see you slightly before you could see them, that is the Pika's advantage problem. And that is the problem the devs want to solve, because according to David, the less Pika's advantage there is, the more tactical the game's meta becomes, which we all want, of course, for a highly competitive game. Now, many times because of this problem, it seemed that you died to a person that looked to be running and shooting, but on their screen, they probably actually stopped. You just didn't see this. Now, what is the dev's solution to this? Well, they actually have quite a bit of solutions. Firstly, the change that you probably already know is the 0.5 patch change with the accuracy and dead zone changes, which are an attempt to fix some of the problems. Who knows how successful that's going to be in the long run? There's still more data to get collected, but at least there's a patch that's already out that might generate some results. On top of this, their second solution is to speed up the animation transitions from running to standing still, which can appear clearer to the one getting peeked. Because what they're saying is the person's already standing still, we just don't see that. So if they speed up that animation transition, it's gonna look like they actually stopped when they did stop, giving us more time to react, and it's gonna feel a lot better than getting run killed is what we actually feel like what's happening. Now, thirdly, they plan to remove corpse blocking for a little bit of time so that you can fully see what happens the moment after you die. Because often what would happen with corpse blocking is you would die and all you would see was them running and then you get killed and it just looks like they were just full sprinting. But in reality, they actually stopped. You just didn't quite see that happening. So they're planning on removing corpse blocking so that you can indeed verify, oh, they actually stopped running. They weren't just completely sprinting and killed me. Now, the fourth solution that they're a little bit hesitant on, but they might add, is that they plan on delaying the death that you visibly see with the death that is registered in the game so that it appears more fair. The downside of this, as stated, is there's a purgatory period where you're actually dead, but you don't see it. So they're a little bit hesitant about this, but this would really line up with when you're actually dead versus what you see, and it probably would get rid of some of the frustrations coming around getting run headshotted. And then lastly, they have some more extreme options that they're going to reserve for a last resort. And as usual, you can check out those complicated reserve options in the full notes down below. Now, a lot of people have stated that they think that high ping players have an advantage. And according to the dev team, high ping players don't have an advantage, but they make Pika's advantage worse for everyone. Basically, if you have high ping or if anyone has high ping, being the aggressor will give you an unfair advantage. Whether you have low ping and they have high ping, or y'all both have high ping, whoever is the aggressor will have the biggest advantage. So basically, as a really big bonus tip that they gave us is that if you're up against someone with high ping or you yourself have high ping, you want to be the aggressor. You want to be pushing W, because if anyone has high ping at all, whoever's the aggressor is going to be able to abuse that Pika's advantage even better. So in a nutshell, the Valorant team realizes that this is a problem, but they still have many valves to pull to potentially make it better and become much closer to fixing it, even if fixing it entirely isn't possible. If anything, we should appreciate their commitment to this problem, and they are already doing so much in the beta. I'm excited about exactly what they're going to do to fix this problem. Now let's move on to some other news, talking about ranked questions, pre-mades versus solo queue. Now, if you've been climbing the ranks of Valorant at all, or been watching high-level players, you know that once you get to a certain rank, there's 5 stacks everywhere. It feels like everywhere is plagued with 5 stacks. And on top of this, it feels unfair and difficult when solo queues are up against huge stacks. Now, this is the devs' response to this problem. The devs believe that it's important to develop teamwork and synergy with players as you climb the ranks, and they don't want to box in players and hold them to playing solos, duos, or 4+ stacks. They put value into learning the game with other people and making connections, and then trying to team up with them and apply team strategies in ranked. However, that being said, they have put more effort in behind the scenes to make it so that smaller groups and solos will rarely get placed against larger stacks. All that being said, in my opinion, this is an extremely terrible take by the developers. While I understand the sentiment to encourage people to team up together and play together, the fact of the matter is, if you keep this system in place, a lot of the high ranks are just going to be stacked people farming wins or playing in teams almost like it's a scrim simulator. That means ranks will matter far less, and if they create like a top 500 system, being top 10 doesn't really mean that much if you accomplished it with an entire team, because essentially you could be boosted there through teamwork and not individual skill. In my personal opinion, I definitely think there should be a separate solo queue competitive section or solos and duos, but I'm definitely interested in exactly how you feel about this, so please let me know in the comments down below. Lastly, there's a sentiment going around that the game encourages KD to help you rank up, and they touch on a point about the game encouraging top fragging, and they state that wins or losses matter the most out of anything. I have some problems with this, but first, let me read exactly what they said, and then I'm going to give my rebuttal to this argument. So what they say word for word is, also, outside of playing at the highest rank, we've included that measurement on a small degree of performance is determined on how you rank increases or decreases. So, if you perform exceptionally well and have an outsized contribution to your team's wins, you'll rank up faster. They also go on to say, we've also heard some concerns from players who feel that they need to maximize their KDA, kill-death ratio, to boost their performance evaluation, and how doing so is not always aligned with their team winning. Let's be clear, winning or losing a match has the biggest effect on your rank. If you aim for something other than winning, like KDA, and you lose your matches because of it, your rank will downward trend. While I ultimately get what they're saying here, and much of this I agree with, that doesn't actually answer the fundamental problem about unfairness with aggressive-based heroes. What they're saying is true, but some characters will naturally have a higher KDA while still aiming for the victory. According to what they said, if your character has a natural inclination to get more kills, they will derank slower and rank up faster, even if their win-loss rate is exactly the same as a different hero. I would hope that this is something that they keep in mind. Ultimately, it doesn't matter that much in my opinion, but I feel like they ignored the core part of this argument. Essentially what they're saying is they're okay with this being a slightly unfair system, which I can respect, but just come out and say it, honestly. So moving on to the last thing that they touch on, they're working very hard to make it so that Vanguard doesn't mess with unintended software, and they're looking heavily towards the future to make it far less intrusive. While part of this I've delivered the news and some of it I've given some criticism to their takes, I really want to thank the Riot developers for putting so much time and effort into making this game as good as it can be, and keep in mind that any constructive criticism is only going to better the game going forward, as this is beta and it still has a long way to go before the full release. Anyways, if you like being updated on Valorant content or you just want to improve at Valorant, do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button. Questions, comments, concerns, or any input about the news that you received here, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, that's all we got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time,